Well done, good and faithful servants. Hi, welcome to the channel. My name is Rev Dan. I'm a vicar in the Church of England. And I have big news, big news to bring you via Premier Christian News. They have an exclusive. The headline says, dissenting bishops speak out on same-sex blessings. This is big. The ball has, in a sense, started rolling. Bishops have come out speaking out against the same-sex blessing statement from the Church of England, which came out on Monday, which I did a video, you can watch that here. And they've come out saying, well, we'll get into their statement, which Premier Christianity News has got. So the article starts, on Monday, the Church of England's House of Bishops announced that prayers asking for God's blessings for same-sex couples should go forward to be formally authorised under canon law. Today, Premier Christianity can exclusively reveal that 11 Church of England bishops, COV bishops, are dissenting from this plan. Here is their statement in full. So I'll read the statement, I'll go through, and as always, comment on parts that there's some meaty things in here. It says on Monday, the statement, on Monday, the House of Bishops reached a decisive point in the journey discerning how to proceed in relation to living in love and faith. We, those 11, we have participated in good faith in attempts to find consensus, but were unable to support the decisions taken on Monday. There was deep disagreement within the House, sharing the profound concerns of many in the Church of England and in the wider communion. With heavy heart, we find it necessary to dissent publicly from the decisions of the House. So the House has, I believe, 53 bishops there, and someone's just told me 53 plus 9 others. So comment below, help me out here. I'm trying to find out how many bishops there are in the House of Bishops. So I believe it's 53, but there are 9 others. Correct me if I'm wrong. Who have voted for this, but 11 have come out and said, look, we can't vote for this. And now we're publicly coming out and saying that we're not doing this. That they've said they participated in good faith in attempts to find consensus, and they're trying to move forward. So cast your minds back to February with the vote. 4 bishops voted against the prayers in love and faith and moving forward. I was at a meeting in London where, you know, those bishops, when they were talked about, got a standing ovation for what they were doing. 2 bishops abstained and the rest voted for. So now we come to today, you've got 11 bishops coming forward and saying, no, we are dissenting from this. There were bishops, a lot of questions were asked, why haven't you stood up? And I think they've been in an incredibly difficult position. And so, I think some of these bishops have thought, well, we can have a bigger impact if we stay in the conversations, in the process, and hopefully change the direction. That's, to be honest, what a lot of people in the Church of England are trying to do. They're trying to move and change within the church itself. So I think that's what's happening. But we got to a point, and this is where we are really as a church, aren't we? That we got to a point where, we have to make a stand on what we believe, and they are making a huge stand. So do please pray for these bishops. I'll read out their names in a bit. So the statement goes on to say, we welcome the fact that the House recognised the need for General Synod to exercise its legitimate responsibilities in relation to liturgy and doctrine under Canon B2. However, the decision to commend the suite of prayers for use in public services bypasses those procedures and does not permit the General Synod to consider the full significance of the prayers. Nor can Synod determine whether the bishops have fulfilled their intention, supported in February, that the final form of the prayer should not be indicative of a departure from the doctrine of the Church of England. Indeed, legal and theological advice the House has received suggests clearly to us that the decisions of the House may fall short of this commitment. So this is a huge part of the statement. So yes, well done. You're going to follow the process to go through Canon B2. So that's a good thing. But they're not going to do it in November because it will just get voted down, because there's not enough majority in each of the houses to get it through. So what they're going to do is say, oh, we're going to do it in 2025. So how they got around this is they have commended the prayers to be used within other services, but in 2025 the prayers can be voted on to be used in a standalone service. So what will happen? People will use them in a communion service or morning prayer, or even in prayer, whatever it might be, and put these prayers in. My personal thoughts is those services won't be a full evening prayer or morning prayer or communion. Perhaps it could be a full communion, but it'll kind of change to get these prayers in. But it's being brought in under the radar, as it were. It should be voted on, is what they're saying. So they say the decision to commend the prayers, the suite of prayers for public services, bypasses the procedures. We got a General Synod there for a reason. And also it doesn't permit the General Synod to consider the full significance of the prayers. What are they saying? What are they implying as well? If people go to church, does it imply that this is a wedding? This was a lot of the uproar about the original draft version of the prayers, which I think we believe is what's going to come back. The rings and there's so much in there that made it look like a wedding ceremony. And so this isn't being scrutinised, debated, and eventually voted on by General Synod. They're just being commended and they're going to be used. Consider the implications of that. We'll have photos. We'll have weddings with photos. We've got 2 years of this becoming quite normal, and it's a lovely thing. It's a good thing. And then we go and vote, and it's such a difficult thing in 2 years for some of those people in General Synod to say, I'm going to vote against this when everyone thinks it's a normal thing now, and look at all these photos for the past 2 years. So they are saying, look, this is procedurally absolutely wrong, and the scrutiny is not there. So in February as well, there was an amendment to the original proposal put forward. The only amendment that got through that says that these prayers should not be indicative of a departure from the doctrine of the Church of England. And these bishops say, the Faithful 11, legal and theological advice the House has received suggests clearly to them that the decisions of the House may fall short of this commitment. So I put theological above legal here. Of course we should. But we are established Church of England, and the laws of the Church of England are the laws of the land, because they have to be ratified in Parliament as well. So, but theologically they fall short. So they're saying these are, in their belief, a move from the doctrine of the Church of England. They are a departure from the doctrine of the Church of England. So not only theologically are they, but legally as well they are. So we got the same. You're not following process. We're not scrutinising things. You're circumnavigating what Synod should be doing by delaying this for 2 years, even though you're delaying it. And then you're not following legal and theological advice, and it falls short of this, opening themselves up to legal challenges. But what happens then? Who looks bad if this goes through? Oh, we're doing same-sex blessings. Oh, look, now that the Conservatives and the Traditionals are taking them to court, and who's going to look bad in that? So it goes on. We are also firmly of the view that we need to adhere to the commitment made to bring the prayers of love and faith, the pastoral guidance and the pastoral reassurance, including whatever formal structural provision is necessary, to Synod in a single package, rather than doing so in a piecemeal fashion. We are therefore unable to support the collective decisions made by the House, which we believe fail to safeguard the pastoral stability, mission and unity of the Church. So again, in any business, you don't say, right, we're going to do this and that. If you're changing something quite major, and this is okay, it's not a business, but you know what I mean. If you're trying to change something, you bring the whole package so people can understand what the whole package. What are we buying into here? What is the whole package? Let's check that. Let's scrutinise that. Does it all fit together? Is it right? But what's happening here, and what they're saying is, it's a piecemeal. So we're going to get a bit in. We're going to commend the prayers in November Synod. We're going to get a bit of the pastoral guidance and some pastoral reassurance. I think it's coming in January, and then in 2 years' time we're going to vote on Canon B2. And so you're not bringing it all together, and that's wrong. And there's a commitment that it was made. So they go on and say they believe that the bishops failed to safeguard the pastoral stability. And remember, the bishops, that's one of their jobs, especially for the clergy, to look after the clergy. There's no pastoral stability. We don't know what's going to happen. Even it being fair, both sides. What if a vicar does it? Are they going to get disciplined? What if we don't want to do it? Those of us who won't do it, are we going to again get disciplined because we refuse to do them? That this guidance hasn't really come out. The mission, well, we hold the mission together with the bishop. We hold the cura souls as incumbents, and this now is going to cause divisions and unity of the church. Well, the unity of the church is a bit all over the place with this, and because of this. So it says, faced with these sensitive matters over which there remains deep disagreement, we are committed as bishops to continue seeking to discern a way forward in the interest of the whole church and to provide pastoral care for all. At the same time, we believe that bishops must have due regard to the obligations of good and proper governance. Even at this late stage, we urge our episcopal colleagues and the archbishops, as joint presidents of General Synod, to reconsider the course we saw mapped out in our meeting. And so, I join in with calling for them to say, it hasn't gone too far. Pull back. Do not do this. And even if you want to bring the whole package, make sure you do it right. We got bishops now coming out saying, you're not doing this right. Pull back. Consider all the legal and theological advice. Get it right. Bring it as one package and let it be voted on under Canon B2 at that synod, not later. And so the episcopal colleagues can do that, but definitely the archbishops, as joint presidents of General Synod, I believe can do that, and to stop this before it goes too far. The problem is that at the moment it still hasn't gone through, and so that's okay. The problem comes when it does go through. The way that this is being put through and the prayers being commended, a lot of people that I've seen, a lot of discussions going on, a lot of people who were I'm not sure what to do, are now saying this is not right. And now with this statement coming out, is really going to make people think, people in churches. I've said this before, I've got people in my church who, they know that I'm faithful and I stand on the gospel, but they have said, if the Church of England goes this direction, I don't know if I can stay. The way that this has been done I think those people will leave. Good, faithful people. And there's nothing that I can do, because the underhandedness of how this is being handled, and it should have been open, and it, as the bishops have said, brought us a package, all the legal theological stuff done, and it's not giving it any confidence for those faithful laity in our church, let alone ordinands and curates and the incumbents and associates, all of those people are PTO. What is it? What's the future? What does this hold? People who were probably not sure what to do or hold back. I think now this is so divisive that they're going to make a decision on the future. I don't know what that is. It's down to each individual. But because, we had questions whether this was done right, and now 11 bishops are saying it's not, and questioning that, it will probably give confidence to those or make those who are thinking, what shall I do, to make a decision. Goes on to say, we join the prayers of the whole church as we seek to bear fruit, united and faithful witness to the good news of Jesus Christ entrusted to us in the midst of the challenges we face as the church, and especially for our wider world at this time. So here are the bishops, and please pray for them. The statement is huge. the Bishop of Blackburn, Philip North, the Bishop of Chichester, Martin Warner, the Bishop of Ebbsfleet, Rob Monroe, the Bishop of Guildford, Andrew Watson, the Bishop of Hereford, Richard Jackson, the Bishop of Islington, Rick Thorpe, the Bishop of Lancaster, Jill Duff, the Bishop of Oswestry, Paul Thomas, the Bishop of Rochester, Jonathan Gibbs, the Bishop of Sheffield, Pete Wilcox, the Bishop of Southwell and Nottingham, Paul Williams. Thank you for standing up. And I know for those 11, they've worked so hard behind and they've faced a lot of criticism because they haven't spoken out publicly. I believed that, to be honest, that they would come out at General Synod and stand up and say, look, I can't, I didn't vote for this, or I don't want this to go through, or whatever it might be. That's why I thought this would be done. This being done now, I think it shows just like I said, how big this is. But there's not just the bishops here, what's called the Orthodox Ordinands, or I think it's Orthodox Ordinands. So 78 have signed a letter, and that all the links are below, by the way. 78 individuals currently in training have privately signed in agreement with this letter. This allowed us to be united without risk to those who fear negative consequences to their continued time at college, curacies and beyond. This list is verifiable. We signed on their behalf. So I put this up. This is right at the end of the letter. How can we be in a situation where we don't agree with prayers of love and faith, and that these ordinands feel that they cannot publicly put their name out there because they, as it says here, fear negative consequences. So we can't hold to what the Bible says and publicly stand on that without fear and negative consequences. That's not to say negative consequences will actually happen. What the worry for me about this is, why should they fear? Why should they fear negative consequences just because they sign a letter to say we uphold the teachings of Jesus Christ and the Bible, the Word of God, we stand on that, we are orthodox in our beliefs? Why would you fear that? That's scary. And I when I get to read the comments for some of the videos that I do, there are comments that are like, people think that I will lose my job, my calling here where I serve, because of what I do. And I literally, all I do is what I'm doing now. I take news articles and I look at the news articles and I comment on them, and yet people fear for me that I would lose my role. Again, I don't know if I will, but how can you not be able to speak freely and against what the majority of bishops believe, or how can you without fear? And so reading some of the comments already about this statement, it's pray for these bishops, they're really putting their heads above the parapets, and it's worrying that this language is used. Why cannot 11 bishops come out with a statement without the phrase being put your head above the parapets? There's a culture here. There's a culture that has to be addressed, to be honest, as well. So, huge statement. It's going to... There's more stuff going to come out, this will continue up until the General Synod on the 13th, 14th and 15th of November. At the moment, things can be pulled back. Other things, it doesn't need to go this far. I hope this statement by those 11 faithful bishops will help in that process. Do I think this will stop it? No. But once those prayers are commended in the General Synod, I think now more people, laity and clergy, will in one way or another, and churches as well, in one way or another will come out and make a stand in one way however it might be. But this statement now, with the bishops standing there, and remember now, there is in a sense no pastoral, there's no talk of structural reorganisation or anything. So you got bishops you got 11 bishops there who, people say, well, I'm glad that's my bishop, and you've got other people in other areas who now have to decide what their relationship will be should this go through. And I think now is a time for saying, please stop, pull back, don't go so far. But once the General Synod ends and this goes through, then there's a different time and a different conversation to be had. And we will have to wait to see. We all have to make decisions to where our consciences are, both laity and clergy, for that. But I don't want to even get to that stage. I want them to listen to their colleagues who are now come out with a hugely strong statement and to say, pull back. And I want people to write to their bishops and to say, stop this now. The consequences are going to be far, far greater. And that's something that we just don't want.